They're playing our tune. Welcome to Broadway and Beyond. I'm Dana Tyler here with my fellow Broadway huge fan, CBS 2 reporter Dave Carlin. We've done so many theater stories, right? Decades. Both about what happens on stage and behind the scenes, which is just so important.
And this season, you know, we're halfway through this one, and fantastic shows are already up and running. So let's begin with one that just opened. It's a big and bold, splashy new musical, Some Like It Hot. Take a look at some of the curtain call action there. This is an old-fashioned musical, but it also has so much contemporary meaning, but it really brings back Broadway in a big, bold way. Everyone loves a big old musical with a big orchestra.
Look how huge the cast, too.
Really, really talented cast. Amazing show. Let's give you a look.
This new musical taps into the notion that something jazzy, funny, and sophisticated is just what we need.
I hope you like your Broadway hot.
Some Like It Hot hits Broadway. Based on the MGM movie starring Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, and Marilyn Monroe. The musical's creators knew the source material from 1959 needed updating because times have changed.
I think people are going to be very happily surprised with what we've done with it.
We can't stay here. Chicago's too hot. You're right.
The musical sticks to the movie's plot. Joe, played by Christian Borle, and Jerry, played by J. Harrison G., witness a mob murder and go into hiding as Josephine, Aunt Daphne, and an all-woman band. Along the way, meeting the talented Sugar, played by Adriana Hicks, and assorted, lovable characters. When a character finds their gender to be expansive instead of rigid, the show celebrates that.
We honor the MGM movie for what it was, but we also show you through the 2022 lens who these human beings are.
I think come see the show to be entertained, to hear fantastic music, and see really amazing performers that are standout, and then also to be moved.
So it's really the explosion of the big band sound.
The Duke Ellington and Ella Fitzgerald bands, dance bands.
They know how to put together something and make it magical and make it stick with you, and I don't think that the audience will walk away without having at least one or two songs in their heads.
It's pure joy.
So that is the same songwriting team that gave us the hit Hairspray.
Huge Tony Award winner.
Yeah, and we were talking about the cast members of that show because you know what? They're just so energized. They're all so funny. And yeah, everyone from like with a small bit, a very funny bit to do,
stars.
Or the star.
One of the stars who plays Sugar, the Marilyn Monroe role, is Adriana Hicks. I interviewed her when she was in Six. She was one of the queens. And so then she moved from that to this, and just that importance of originating a role and just the excitement for it. I mean, this is fun when we see something different, new concept.
What a huge break for her, and the whole team very happy over there.
Yeah, I bet so. There is a poignant comedy at the Booth Theater called Kimberly Akimbo, and the playbill about this one says, setting 1999, before kids had cell phones, somewhere in Bergen County, New Jersey.
This one is a delight. It's charming, but it's very, very different. Now, this was a popular off-Broadway play. Kimberly Akimbo is now back as a Broadway musical, full of heart, starring Tony Award winner Victoria Clark.
I like the way you see the world. I like your point of view.
At age 63, veteran actress Victoria Clark enjoys the role of a lifetime, playing a 15-year-old in the new musical Kimberly Akimbo. She embodies this plucky New Jersey high school student with a medical condition that ages her prematurely. Her character does not let her rare disease stop her from finding romance, belonging, and adventure.
This show is basically about an outsider who decides to take responsibility and take agency over her own life and to find the beauty and the joy and the fun of her life.
Clark won the Leading Actress Tony Award in 2005 for her performance in The Light in the Piazza. Broadway audiences are buzzing that she may earn another one for her transformation as the lonely teenaged Kimberly. Kimberly struggles with the musical's fictional disease and her very quirky family. Kimberly Akimbo, the musical, began as a critically acclaimed play of the same name by Pulitzer Prize winner David Lindsay Abaire, who wrote it in 2000. Now adapted into a musical, it was a hit off Broadway last year.
Revisiting it, putting it into song, making those characters sing, it's just cracked open the play in a brand new, exciting way.
The music is by Janine Tesori. Here's how she describes the show.
Laughter through tears, or tears through laughter is what I would say.
This musical explores what it's like to belong, taking an unflinching look at life's highs and lows. Tony nominee Bonnie Milligan plays Kimberly's fierce and inappropriate Aunt Deborah.
A scheming con artist kind of lady who honestly comes in and shakes everything up. So it's super fun to play. We have 7 Broadway debuts, which is absolutely incredible.
I'm very, very glad and blessed and grateful to have ended up where I am today.
I got an audition for this top of the pandemic. A year later, I got an email that was like, you have a callback.
These Broadway debuts and the excitement and the patience and the hard work, so cool to see.
Oh, they're so excited. And this is a show that you're in the audience and you can tell some of the members have seen it before. They're mouthing the words to some of the songs.
Right.
And then it got really great reviews. It's one of those shows you take people to if you want something quirky, a little different, sort of very modern musical, and then maybe pair it with some other kinds of shows.
What about relatability, family-wise, like Aunt Deborah, everybody sort of, kind of, sort of?
Everybody has a wacky family is the point of Kimberly Akimbo, and it has a lot of heart.
Moving on to a play on Broadway, a revival, and movie star Samuel L. Jackson is back on the Broadway stage for the first time in a decade.
He's in the powerhouse cast of playwright August Wilson's The Piano Lesson.
And there he is with his wife, LaTanya Richardson Jackson, also a Broadway actor. But Dave, she is the director.
The boss.
She is the boss here at The Piano Lesson. And this is not the first August Wilson play for either of them. Wilson means so much to him and her. There she is. And I think that's what's so important and exciting about this. They're so proud to be part of this project.
Let's take a look at the show.
Now, I'll tell you something about the railroad. What I done learned after 27 years.
Samuel L. Jackson plays Doker. He's the wise patriarch in The Piano Lesson, protective of his family and its history.
The characters are genuine and real in a way that's, honest for us as a race.
Nephew Boy Willie, played by John David Washington, returns to Pittsburgh to sell the family's heirloom piano to buy land. But his sister and ghosts of the past stand in his way.
Hell, the land is there for everybody. All you got to do is figure out a way to get you a piece.
Washington's best known for his film work starring in Black Klansman and the just out Amsterdam. But this is the first time on Broadway for the eldest child of Denzel and Pauletta Washington.
Tell me, what was the draw for you?
The draw was his point of view, his forward thinking in 1936. To me, he's very aware of the history, of his family, slavery. He wants to go back down south. It's not like he's trying to move north.
Jackson, now a mega movie star, was the first Boy Willie when the play premiered at Yale Repertory Theater in 1987.
When I read the play years and years and years ago, I understood that this kind of role on Broadway is the kind of role that projects you to the next place.
Jackson's wife, 2014 Tony-nominated actress LaTanya Richardson Jackson, is directing this play. Her first role on Broadway was in 2009 in August Wilson's Joe Turner's Come and Gone.
To be able to interpret or helm, to amplify what August Wilson's incredible work does is, for me, the answer to a dream.
The drama's steadfast sister Bernice is played by Tony nominee Daniel Brooks.
Everybody telling me I can't be a woman unless I got a man.
There's a lot that she is trying to control and put a lid on and not show, and she can't.
Celebrating the revival, Constanza Romero Wilson, calling her late husband's highly acclaimed 10 plays the American Century Cycle.
August Wilson put the African American experience on stage
But any story about oppressed people is also a story about the oppressor.
And music is pivotal in Wilson's storytelling.
Raise them up higher, let it drop on down.
It's an ingenious thing that he does because there's so much language in August Wilson. And so he breaks it by bringing the blues in or bringing the music in, especially in this piece.
Dana, all that star power you
Really,
got to talk to.
It was exciting because, I mean, yes, the relationship, the husband and wife, you know, but also John David Washington. His parents, Denzel and Pauletta, are close with LaTanya and Samuel. So these two families kind of grew up together. So there's a special feeling for them to see John David do just so well. And he really does, right?
Oh, what a moment for him.
It was captivating, I thought, on stage.
And with the whole list of revivals, you're going to look down at what's on Broadway right now in terms of revivals and say, I want to see that, and I want to see that, and I want to see that. There's so many great ones. The
piano lesson is at the Barrymore Theater through January 29th. All right, so now we're going to move to another play, six-time Tony Award winner Tom Stoppard's new play. It's called Leopoldstadt, and it shows the horror and heartbreak an extended Jewish family faces when the Nazis occupy Austria during World War II.
It is epic. CBS 2's Dick Brennan spoke with one actor, Brandon Uranowitz, about the rise of anti-Semitism depicted on stage and outside the theater.
To a Gentile, I am a Jew.
It's a searing family drama of love, tragedy, and human suffering sprawled over decades. Tom Stoppard's Leopoldstadt. The play follows an Austrian Jewish family through the joy and prosperity of the turn of the 20th century.
Vilma, you really ought to come to Mama and Papa for Seder this year.
And then into the darkness of Kristallnacht and the scourge of Nazism.
What were you doing before German bombers flew over like an overture to Hitler's triumphant entrance into Vienna?
It is in part based on the life of Tom Stoppard, one of the most successful playwrights in Broadway history, and features a giant cast, a family tree that withers under the burden of hatred and oppression.
I think if you've never experienced what it's like to be oppressed or be marginalized, it can be very difficult to step into the shoes of someone who has.
Brandon Uranowitz takes on two roles, Ludwig and Nathan, over a 5-decade period from 1899 to 1955.
There's a very terrifying parallel between that apartment and this theater and everything that's happening outside of it.
The NYPD is now investigating more than a dozen attacks against Jewish people since the start of Hanukkah.
You know, in one way, it adds a sense of urgency to the play, which lifts it to another level, I think.
Well, you see, it's all one subject. The Sieg Heiling mobs in the streets and the Jews made to run naked to the gas with the guards shouting at them.
We've all read about it, Nathan!
If there was some one thing, one theme, that is a message of this play and that perhaps might resonate beyond the doors here.
For me, the biggest thing about the play is memory and remembering. I don't want the themes of this play to just be presented to people who already understand them and know them.
So 3 generations of a family depicted with just so much.
I think that's what's, you know, the stage offers such opportunities to tell people's stories. We think we know about people, or we don't at all, and we ought to know about each other, and this is a perfect example.
History is made at the newly named James Earl Jones Theater.
That's where 6-time Tony Award winner Audra McDonald is back on stage in the highly acclaimed play, Ohio State Murders.
Nothing of the story came out in the papers. And that is the main...
McDonald stars as Suzanne Alexander, a celebrated author who returns to the Ohio State University campus in the early 1990s to talk about violent imagery in her writing. She's haunted by what happened in the past when she was a student in the late 40s and early 50s. So the history here, this play, is the Broadway debut for 91-year-old playwright Adrienne Kennedy.
To have been writing and coming up with these incredibly prolific, poetic, difficult, beautiful plays since the 60s and not have ever had one commercially produced on Broadway just seemed a crime.
It explores human behavior. It explores our connectedness to each other. It asks the questions, why do we do the things we do?
So in addition to Ohio State Murders, Kenny Leon is directing another Broadway play. This, the revival of Top Dog Underdog, written by Pulitzer Prize winner Susan Laurie Parks. This drama is about two brothers who are bitter about their past, worried about their future. It stars Corey Hawkins as Lincoln and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Booth.
That show just blows your mind. And Kenny Leon, what a fantastic director to take these two plays and just bring them not just to life, but just, I mean, with urgency and vibrancy, and it really two amazing productions.
I saw him at Top Talk Underdog during the previews, you know, and during the previews, you know, they can make changes and they're sitting in the back and the director can tell somebody's writing notes, change this, change that. And, you know, if you don't know who they are, I said, Kenny, you know. And it was great during the previews, and so glad that it's back again.
And the cast that he gets for his shows. So everyone's in good hands.
Rapper, actor, and activist Common is making his Broadway debut in the play Between Riverside and Crazy, and you got to meet him.
There is so much excitement surrounding this casting news, and Common is just a great guy, so what a pleasure for me to get to meet him and talk about this latest chapter for him in his multi-genre career.
It feels so right.
Common has Grammys, a Golden Globe, and an Oscar. Now he's trying something that just might earn him a Tony Award. Let's bring you over. I talked to Common about his Broadway debut, playing Junior in the Pulitzer Prize-winning play Between Riverside and Crazy by Stephen Adly Girgis.
You really don't have to. You know, and you've got the slew of awards, and you can keep going on with your activism, you can keep going on with your great music, and you can keep going on with your, you have a book, you have stuff going on. Why is it that you can do all these things?
I just love acting. Now, obviously I was grateful to get into a film, but I always wanted to do theater, especially this play, Between Riverside and Crazy. This is the play. Junior, my character, is formerly incarcerated, so I've done a lot of work with people who are incarcerated. It made me approach Junior and understand that, like, I got to show the whole human being, not just this dude that was incarcerated. If you go and allow somebody to be incarcerated and come out worse because of the way you treat them, then that's making things worse. They coming back to society worse.
Common burst onto the music scene in 1992 with the album Can I Borrow a Dollar, and gained widespread critical acclaim for his 1994 album Resurrection. On his road to stardom, he wasn't afraid of detours that paid off in big ways.
We get put in boxes, like, because I personally love jazz music. Somebody might expect that, but I also love, like, silly comedies, like Bridesmaids is a movie I like, you know. I'm a dude from the south side of Chicago. I grew up in the south side. It's a neighborhood, that's a hood. We don't always get to sit down with others from other different nationalities, other cultures, and experience it. So what's one of the ways that we can actually get close to it if it's told in a truthful way is through storytelling.
Like Between Riverside.
Like Between Riverside and Crazy. This dude is formerly incarcerated in the attic, but he really does love and he's bringing people into his home and wants to love his father in a certain way. But once you get through a great story and really great writing, you get to understand these people more.
Common.
You liked him, I could tell.
I did.
Great
you know,
conversation.
His entire cast really loves him, what he's bringing to this role, because he's stepping into it, but they had performed it before altogether. And he really has brought so much dedication, they say.
Yes.
And I'm just, you know, amazed by all the genres he tries, how, you know, brave he is to say, look, I'm scared of that, but I'll do it anyway.
Do it.
Yeah, and he succeeds beautifully.
When we come back, a curtain call like no other. A music legend surprises a Broadway audience. Also ahead, a Shakespeare classic with a pop music twist. surprise encores. Grammy winner Neil Diamond wowed the opening night audience of the new Broadway show, A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical. It tells Diamond's life story, how a Brooklyn boy became a superstar singer-songwriter. Actor Will Swenson plays Diamond during his hit-making decades, and the show features many of Diamond's hit songs, such as Sweet Caroline, Cracklin' Rosie, and America, and a lot more.
Yeah, you got to do that. So good.
So good. A hit movie about rock musicians is now a Broadway musical.
Actors hitting all the right notes and thrilled the audience during the curtain call for Almost Famous, the musical, which opened in November. It's based on Cameron Crowe's Oscar-winning movie about a teenage music journalist who travels with a rock band. And Crowe wrote the book and the lyrics for this musical.
And he's there. You met him and spoke with him about this.
Oh, yeah. Hero of mine, a journalist who also then went on and made movies. And again, not being boxed in by any genre. Cameron Crowe's an interesting guy to talk to, and he's made a very interesting musical.
All right, let's go back now to an American classic staged in a new way. Arthur Miller's 1949 Pulitzer Prize and Tony Award-winning Death of a Salesman. Back on Broadway with a first. A lot of anticipation for this, too, because it's a major change. I spoke with the revival's lead actors in Willy Loman's painful search for the American dream.
I put 34 years into this firm, Howard, and now I can't pay my insurance.
Wendell Pierce is Willy Loman, the aging Brooklyn salesman putting his past on a pedestal, only to realize his faults put a successful career and his vision of a perfect family agonizingly out of reach. Pierce is known for many screen roles, including The Wire and Treme. Death of a Salesman is his fifth Broadway play, one making history with black actors as the Lomans instead of white.
It's a profoundly moving honor to do the role, the challenge of a lifetime, not only as an artist, but as a man. And to do this work is a challenge that I would have been crazy to turn down.
It's timeless, it's timely, it's time.
Sharon D. Clarke co-starred with Pierce in the 2019 London production, winning an Olivier Award as Willie's undaunted wife and mother of their two sons.
Just like any actor, you bring who you are to the role. To have the Loman family be black, it amplifies all those things that are already there.
On the page,
and on the page, and brings it to a new level.
Just heightens it, enriches it, deepens it, because it's so visceral. You know, you can see the impossibility of the American dream and chasing that dream. It's not going to happen. You can see it.
Pierce says the more specific, the more universal the message becomes. And for a desperate Willy Loman, it's with love and pain.
You can't eat the orange and throw the peel away. A man is not a piece of fruit.
2022, 1949.
Takes your breath away.
And Wendell said to me, he said, when they were in London, people would come to the stage door and say, wait a second, you changed that. Words are different. No. And also we should say Andre DeShields, Tony winner from Hadestown, plays Willy Loman's elder brother, Ben. It's impactful, that's for sure.
That is an understatement. Well, just ahead, a new take on Shakespeare. How the new musical And Juliet is creating big buzz.
Welcome back to Broadway and Beyond. And the next show we're going to talk about features the songs of superstars like Katy Perry, Celine Dion.
Oh, catchy ones. NSYNC, Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys.
Oh, my gosh.
This is a pop.
Okay, but here's the part about this. This music is helping to tell a story that's more than 500 years old.
The new Broadway show is about Shakespeare's ill-fated couple, but it's called And Juliet, and it makes you wonder, what if?
My loneliness is killing me.
Juliet is a tragic character no more.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
In this new musical, her sad ending is scrapped. She lives and finds joy.
You know what? Romeo lived his life. Maybe it's time I start living mine.
Juliet, as played by Queens native Lorna Courtney, is defiant and charming.
What makes Juliet tick? She has this inner drive and problem-solving skills that she's going to get to her goal no matter what.
And Juliet is packed with the songs of Grammy winner Max Martin. He's the hit maker for Katy Perry, Celine Dion, NSYNC, Britney Spears, and others. Martin joined the cast on stage during the first preview performance.
15 people are making their debut tonight.
It's a joy to be with them. It's a joy to see their every step.
And Juliet brings Paolo Schott back to Broadway. The opera star triumphed on Broadway in South Pacific and won the leading actor in a musical Tony Award. Here he goes pop.
I fell in love with the script, of course, with the songs.
Your career has been so diverse, varied roles, varied genres. Did you plan it that way?
You know, I never saw myself on being just an opera singer or just a jazz singer or a bossa nova or an actor. I want to do things. I want to feel that freedom.
All your plays.
Shakespeare is played by two-time Tony nominee Stark Sands.
It's a fun show. It's a great distraction from you know, your everyday life.
Impossible not to have fun. Yeah. And Juliet premiered in London in 2019. Hit there, looking like a big hit here, too.
And it's just the take on, you know, what if?
It's very clever.
I imagine, too, everybody's up and singing with them, or, you know, standing, clapping, singing.
It's one of those shows where you don't have to behave yourself just so you can lean into it all and have fun.
Question. So when you were growing up, were you in school plays, high school, college, any type of theater?
A little bit, but I've always been more of an appreciative audience member. Performing would not be my gift. As is sometimes seen right here as I do this job. I wouldn't even begin to get on a stage and have to memorize all those lines.
I cannot
I don't know how to do it.
And I remember trying out in the 10th grade for Our Town. And
you got it?
No, it was the stage manager. I mean, and the stage manager is responsible for a lot of good stuff and is a very important role, but it was okay.
Yeah.
I was proud to do that.
That's great.
But no.
Theater's great. All the various things that come together to make it happen. And you'll find your thing inside the system. Well, next year, the Tony Awards, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Heading uptown at the United Palace Theater this time in Washington Heights.
Look at this.
Look how gorgeous a theater that is, and it's the first time that this landmark venue hosts the ceremony. United Palace was built in 1930, and it seats 3,400 people, so it'll be jam-packed with celebrities uptown celebrating New York City, the theater, and a great neighborhood.
The Tony Awards will be live June 11th on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. That's exciting. Exciting for the community, economically, exciting for the arts. New York is much bigger than Midtown.
And Broadway is a citywide thing that reaches beyond our city out to everyone. And it's really been such an honor. Is it over yet? We could go on and on, but it's an honor sharing with you some of these shows that opened in the last few months of 2022. I'm Dave Carlin.
I'm Dana Tyler. We are excited to cover what's ahead on New York City stages. We thank you for being with us on Broadway and beyond. And to follow along with all of our Broadway coverage, visit our website, cbsnewyork.com.